so many busy years, and well, you guys know what it's like. And then all of a sudden to be done and see my kids head off to in their various directions. Anyways, yeah, they were wonderful years, and so I miss them, and so I'm still a very strong proponent of homeschooling, and I say kudos for you for making it here tonight. I know that was an accomplishment. You got the kids fed and yay for the dads who are home tonight, or grandmas, or whoever. So anyways, great that you're here. I brought a rosebud, and here's a quote for you. And when you listen to this, maybe think of your tough kid, the tough kid right now. Okay, do you want to be a tough kid right now? Okay. So here's the quote. It is not yours to open buds into blossom. Shake the bud, strike it. It is beyond your power to make it blossom. He who can open the bud does it so simply. He gives it a glance, and the life sap stirs through its veins. At his breath, the flower spreads its wings and flutters in the wind. Colors flush out like heart longings. The perfume betrays a sweet secret. He who can open the bud does it so simply. And when I read that quote, that was a defining moment for me in my homeschooling career. When I realized that, you know what, this is not my sole responsibility to craft and sculpt and form these boys, I have 3, into learned, empathetic, other-oriented, wise young men. And so when I really took that in and thought about the buds, my 3 buds, I could relax a little bit more and enjoy my journey with them and love them in spite of their immaturity and my own insufficiencies. And that's really our primary job as parents, right, is to love our kids and to provide the best possible garden in which they can flourish. I'm a gardener, I love gardening, as you can tell. So it's a great image for me. And, how many times did I, cry out to God and say, I am but dust. I am but dust. Help. And in my moments of desperation, I knew that God, I'm a believer, so I don't know if you are, but that's my perspective. I knew that God was ultimately the gardener. And so I just had to trust him. I had to trust this master gardener and trust him with this thing that we got ourselves into, homeschooling. Today I opened an email and there was a quote and it said, everyday successes should not be measured, or should be measured by the seeds we sow, not by the harvest we reap. And I really like that because, you know what? We do our part and God does his part very kindly. He does a good job of that. And we need to trust the process and not be afraid, which is kind of always the direction I would go in. And if we try to open that bud ourselves, we might damage something that might otherwise have been very beautiful. Maybe a relationship, maybe an opportunity, maybe an idea, or maybe a tender spirit. So, anyways, while school can be a garden of sorts, we're convinced that home is the best garden. At least for the first 12 to 14 years, it's the best place for our kids. And home gives our kids the best chance to just be free to be who they are. And gives them the best chance at becoming the people that don't know how you envision your kids to be maybe 10, 15 years from now. But I was hoping that, you know, my boys would be very confident and, you know, very self-assured, which is exactly what I was not as a teenager. I was hoping they'd be ready to give of themselves to others, ready to receive from someone who had something they could benefit from, you know, able to empathize, able to express their feelings, and to know their heart, and to be able to step out and take a risk. But when you're in the middle of a crisis with your 11-year-old, that's almost impossible to imagine. But, you know, I'm sure you know that homeschooling can be very chaotic, and especially with multiple little beings around. And you wonder how you are going to preserve your sanity, and you hope that the damage is not going to be too great. But you need to focus on the successes, celebrate the little ones, because they always lead to bigger ones, and trust the process. And there's a guy, I don't know if you've ever heard of Gordon Neufeld. Wonderful. Love it. I mean, he talks a lot about this idea of attachment, our attachment with our children, and how it's our job to safeguard that attachment. And because it's so important in their ability to develop a level of vulnerability that is really foundational to their maturation process. So, and it's within those relationships, those family relationships and attachments, that they are, you know, free just to be who they are and to blossom in the time and in the way that is best for them. And in school, this is really hard, right? Because they're so busy protecting themselves and taking their cues from their peers and losing themselves really in a sea of expectations and pressures. But I'm preaching to the